The Who's Down in Who Newville were making their list, but some didn't know Walmart has the best brands for their gifts.
What about toys? Do they have brands kids have been wanting all year?
Yep, Barbie, Tony's, and Lego. Gifts that will make them all cheer.
Do you mean they have all the brands I adore?
They have Nintendo, Nespresso, Apple, and more.
What about...
So the Who answered questions from friends till they were blue. Each one listened and shouted, from Walmart? Who knew? Shop gifts from top brands for everyone on your list in the Walmart app.
Gas, gifts, tolls. This holiday trip is draining my wallet.
Yeah, but we'll get to see all our family.
You're festive. What's your deal?
What's my deal? Holiday savings at Metro. I got one line of 5G for just $25 per month, and I kept the phone I love. And no activation fees, and a 5-year price guarantee on my talk, text, and data.
Detour to Metro it is.
Get that more for your money feeling. Only at Metro by T-Mobile.
It's $30 your first month or without autopay. Price guarantee exclusions apply. See site for details.
And away we go. Episode 1225 of the Al Galdi podcast. It is Wednesday, December 24th, 2025. It is Christmas Eve, 2025. The Washington-Dallas rivalry in the NFL. A rivalry that has given us some epic wins for the Redskins. The NFC Championship game for the 1972 season. The NFC Championship game for the 1982 season, the battle for the NFC East title on Sunday Night Football in Week 17 of the 2012 regular season. Thursday, what is Christmas, is not the day for another Washington win in the rivalry. Nope. This Christmas is for a Washington loss. I am a lifelong fan of the Washington Redskins / Washington football team / Washington Commanders. I will always be a fan of the Washington Redskins / Washington football team / Washington Commanders. But all I want for Christmas, and what I know many of you want for Christmas, is a loss. Not a humiliating loss, not an embarrassing loss, but a loss. We on this podcast for weeks now have been conducting Operation Lose Out 2.0. This is a lost season for the Commanders. I don't like that that's the case, but that is the case. And so I am rooting for this terrible season to at least result in something very good for our team, a very high pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, hopefully for the purpose of trading down with a quarterback-needy team and getting a haul of picks. The first game of Week 17 of the NFL's 2025 regular season is the 4-11 Washington Commanders versus the 6-8-1 Dallas Cowboys at Northwest Stadium on Thursday afternoon, Christmas afternoon at 1. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whoever you are doing, whatever you are doing with, you can hear the chant. Listen closely. Yes, we want Dallas. We want Dallas to win. That's right. We want Dallas. We want Dallas to win. You know, that chant is a real "We Want Dallas" chant from back in the day at RFK Stadium. One day, our team will be back to a place in which us rooting against the team is blasphemy, is unthinkable. But we're not there yet. For this game, this Christmas, we must do what needs to be done. We want Dallas. We want Dallas to win. Hello and welcome to this Wednesday installment of the Al Galdi podcast. Merry Christmas to those who celebrate. Happy holidays to everyone. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. I mean that sincerely. Without you, this podcast does not exist. So thank you. Coming up on the show, in-depth preview of Commanders Cowboys on Christmas. Next segment, a salute to the 3 Commanders players who have earned Pro Bowl honors for the 2025 regular season. All of the players, special teams players, led by punter Tress Way. The following segment, a breakdown of the Commanders' latest injury report for their game against the Cowboys and discussion off comments from offensive coordinator Kliff Kingsbury on the Commanders' quarterback uncertainty for the game, their unexpected style of offense this season, and whether Kingsbury is about to take a head coaching job. And the segment after that, rhyming keys for the Commanders in this game against the Cowboys on Christmas to do some good things, but lose, as we are in the midst of Operation Lose Out 2.0, and I'll give you a prediction for the game. And also on the show, I'll talk Washington Capitals and Washington Wizards. The Caps, they on Tuesday night had a nightmare of a third period, this in a 7-3 loss to the New York Rangers at Capital One Arena. The Caps lost the third period 5-0. The Wizards, they on Tuesday night fell to an NBA worst 5-23 in the 2025-2026 regular season. This with a 126-109 loss at the Charlotte Hornets. A lot of injury news for our rebuilding and tanking Wizards. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. Feedback on me wondering what exactly has been the point of the Commanders developing quarterback Sam Hartman for 2 seasons on the practice squad when the team in late December of a lost season felt the need to sign another team's practice squad quarterback to the active roster, as the Commanders did in signing Jeff Driscoll from the Arizona Cardinals practice squad in a move announced on Monday afternoon. I talked about this at length on Tuesday's show, episode 1224. Now, Kliff Kingsbury, during his pre-practice press conference on Tuesday morning, did get asked about this Sam Hartman situation. We, during the presser, had this exchange between Mitch Tisler of Monumental Sports Network and Kingsbury.
What went into the decision for Jeff Driscoll versus Sam Hartman? And I guess, what are your thoughts on Sam Hartman and why would he not get this opportunity?
Yeah, Sam's done a great job. I think just having a guy on a short week, particularly that's played in NFL games before, is comfortable with our system, was really why that we felt good about bringing him in. The way we've had the quarterback injuries, we wanted another body, a guy who's played, and that was really it. I don't think it'd be fair, to ask Sam to start on a short week, having not getting many reps where you're not going to get live reps going into a game. And I think that is what it came down to.
All right, look, people can say whatever they want, but as we know, actions speak louder than words. The Commanders' actions are telling us that the team does not trust Sam Hartman, begging the question, what exactly has been the point of the team developing him for 2 seasons on the practice squad? From Alan on X, writes Alan, well said, with the justification of signing Driscoll being that he knows the system. Sam Hartman doesn't after 2 years. Thank you for that, Alan. From Les on X, writes Les, that's exactly my point. You are saying you are developing for 2 seasons and he isn't good enough to make one start. That's ridiculous. Thank you for that, Les. From Paul on X, writes Paul, something clearly is off. I thought Hartman was slated as the 3rd-string guy 14 weeks ago. Thank you for that, Paul. From Mike on X, writes Mike, I want the team to play Hartman the last 2 weeks and see if he can be a viable backup. I get the feeling the team is chasing wins. In fairness, if I felt my job might be in jeopardy, I would chase wins too. Thank you for that, Mike. From BK on X, writes BK, this is one of the baffling things about this organization, keeping players around, but when there is opportunity to have them develop with playing time, there is an excuse of why they can't play. Thank you for that, BK. From District Sports Talk on X, writes District Sports Talk, Jaden's locker room buddy, purely vibes. Thank you for that, District Sports Talk. Perhaps it is the case that Sam Hartman is on the Commanders purely for vibes purposes. From John Turner on X, writes John, Hartman is just there for eye candy. Thank you for that, John. Well, Sam Hartman does look like $1 million. You got to give him respect for that. From Rise with Us on X, writes Rise with Us. Just trust the Brotherhood, Al. Thank you for that, Rise with Us. I will always trust the Brotherhood. I will always trust the Brotherhood, and I will always trust Tell the Truth Mondays. And I will always trust the NACE Law Group. Accident and injury lawyers. It will fight for you and win for you. Just recently, an $8 million jury verdict in Baltimore City Circuit Court in a case in which the NACE Law Group represented the family of a 42-year-old man who died after a simple procedure. Lead attorney Chris Nace, he is a big Commanders fan and a big supporter of this podcast, and his firm wins trials. If you have a case, contact the NACE Law Group. Call 202-902-7611 or visit Washington, D.C., injurylawyers.com and tell the Nace Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. The Nace Law Group is tremendous. It is a Washington, D.C.-based family law firm that handles medical malpractice, personal injury, birth injury, legal malpractice, and consumer protection cases, offering aggressive advocacy for victims in Washington, D.C. and West Virginia. The Nace Law Group fights for victims of all kinds of situations, including victims of errors made during diagnosis, during surgery, or with medication, victims of injuries caused by dangerous medications or medical devices, as well as defective auto parts, victims of accidents involving cars, trucks, bikes, or motorcycles, victims of deceptive trade practices and false advertising, heck, victims of shady lawyers. If your attorney acts in bad faith, is unethical in his or her counsel, or is negligent in his or her work, you could have a claim for legal malpractice. The Nace Law Group has represented corporate clients throughout the region. If you feel that you've been wronged, if you think that you've been wronged but aren't sure, contact the Nace Law Group and schedule a no-obligation appointment. Call 202-902-7611 or visit Washington, D.C., injurylawyers.com and tell the Nace Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. The Nace Law Group, Accident and Injury Lawyers. Well, in this wretched season for our Washington Commanders, there has been a constant positive, and that is their special teams. So the Commanders in a 2025 NFL regular season in which they are 4-11 have the following rankings among the NFL's 32 teams in terms of DVOA. Number 24 in total offense, number 29 in total defense, but number 3 in special teams efficiency, and that is despite the Commanders' problems at kicker. Commander special teams coordinator Larry Izzo is doing a tremendous job, and so it is no surprise that the only Commanders players who received Pro Bowl honors for this regular season are special teams players. So the NFL on Tuesday morning announced Pro Bowl selections for the 2025 regular season. Despite there still being 2 weeks left in the regular season, it will never not crack me up that these supposedly prestigious Pro Bowl selections get made with multiple weeks left in regular seasons. But anyway, 3 Commanders players received Pro Bowl honors, all of them for special teams play. Punter Tress Way was selected as the starting punter for the NFC. Receiver and punt returner Jalen Lane was selected as a second alternate for NFC return specialist, and linebacker and special teams ace Nick Bellore was selected as a third alternate for NFC special teamer. This is Tress Way's third Pro Bowl selection. He also received Pro Bowl selections for the 2019 and 2022 regular seasons. So he joins Matt Turk as the only punters in franchise history to receive at least 3 Pro Bowl selections. So the Commanders this past March 20th announced having re-signed Tress Way as an unrestricted free agent. He was re-signed to just a 1-year contract, so he again is a pending unrestricted free agent. But he, in his age 35 season, is having yet another good season. Tress Way for this regular season through week 16 is number 5 in the NFL in net yards per punt, 43.76, and is tied for number 3 in the NFL in percentage of punts downed at or inside opponents' 20-yard lines. 25 of his 50 punts have been downed at or inside opponents' 20-yard lines. Well, the Redskins acquired Tress Way via claiming him off waivers from the Chicago Bears in August 2014. Here we are in December 2025, and this guy who was acquired via a waiver claim in August 2014 still is our team's punter. That is something. The lone regular season game that he has missed is Washington's punter, is Washington's 2016 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles at FedEx Field on January 2nd, 2022. And he did not play in that game due to being on the reserve/COVID-19 list. Washington's punter for that game was Ryan Winslow, who became the first player other than Tress Way to punt for Washington in a regular season game since Sav Rocca in Week 17 of the 2013 regular season. As for Jalen Lane, so his season unfortunately is over. The Commanders on Monday afternoon announced having put Lane on the reserve/injured list. This due to an ankle injury that he suffered in the team's 29-18 loss to the Eagles at Northwest Stadium this past Saturday evening. Lane had a first quarter 0-yard punt return on which he took a nasty shot from safety Sidney Brown, who registered a solo tackle. This was the Commanders' only punt return of the game. But Jalen Lane for this regular season through Week 16 is number 7 out of 19 qualified punt returners in the NFL per Pro Football Reference in yards per punt return, 13.65, and is tied for number 1 in the NFL in punt return touchdowns, too. He is the first Washington player to have at least 2 punt return touchdowns in a regular season since running back Brian Mitchell in 1994. 2, in fact, is the franchise record for punt return touchdowns in a regular season. The Commanders took Lane in the 4th round of the 2025 NFL Draft out of Virginia Tech. If you are listening to this podcast via Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can rate the podcast with a star rating. 5-star ratings are greatly appreciated. They help us out a lot. Thank you for doing them.
Planning a trip this year? Travel smarter and connect deeper by learning the local language with Rosetta Stone. With over 30 years of experience, Rosetta Stone's immersive, intuitive method helps you live the language, not just memorize it. Choose from over 25 languages, including Spanish, French, Japanese, and more. Their true accent speech recognition technology gives real-time feedback to help perfect your pronunciation. No translations, just natural learning that builds from words to phrases to full conversations. Whether you have 5 minutes or an hour, you can learn anytime on desktop or mobile. Get a lifetime membership and unlock all 25 languages. Learn as much as you want, whenever you want. Rosetta Stone. Learn confidently. Connect authentically. Don't wait. Unlock your language learning potential now. Listeners can grab Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership for 50% off. That's unlimited access to 25 language courses for life. Visit rosettastone.com/pod50 to get started and claim your 50% off today. Don't miss out. Go to rosettastone.com/pod50 and start learning today.
Is it just me, or has watching TV gotten way too complicated? There are a million different services and too many bills to keep track of. Thankfully, there's Philo, a better way to TV. For as low as $33 a month, I get the channels I love. MTV, BET, Food Network, you name it. Plus, everything that AMC Plus has to offer. And guess what? They've added access to HBO Max Basic with Ads Plan and Discovery Plus, so I can enjoy all the best TV with one subscription. There are no contracts, no surprise fees, just one low price. And their DVR is awesome, too. I can save everything I love for up to a year and skip the ads when I rewatch them. A total game changer. I signed up directly at philo.tv. That's philo.tv. And if you subscribe today, you can get $8 off your first month. Philo's the easiest decision I've ever made. Now the hard one. Deciding what to binge next.
Week 17 of the NFL's 2025 regular season begins with the 4-11 Washington Commanders versus the 6-8-1 Dallas Cowboys at Northwest Stadium on Thursday afternoon, Christmas afternoon at 1. The Commanders on Tuesday conducted more of a true practice. This off on Monday afternoon, conducting a walkthrough. On offense, quarterback Jaden Daniels was listed as being limited for a second consecutive day as he remains shut down for the rest of the season while recovering from an injured left elbow. Quarterback Marcus Mariota was listed as not practicing for a second consecutive day. This due to hand and quadriceps injuries that he suffered in the Commanders' 29-18 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles at Northwest Stadium this past Saturday evening. Left tackle Laramie Tunsil was listed as not practicing for a second consecutive day. This due to the oblique injury that caused him to be inactive for the loss to the Eagles. Personally, I don't think that there is any need for Tunsil to play again this season. I mean, this guy's a franchise left tackle. The Commanders appear likely to sign him to a big money contract extension this offseason. Shut him down. What is the point of Tunsil playing again this season? Tackle/guard Brandon Coleman was listed as a full participant for a second consecutive day. This despite suffering a shin injury in the loss to the Eagles. So offensive tackle George Fant was listed as a full participant for a second consecutive day. This despite having a knee problem. And tight end Colson Yankoff was listed as a full participant for a second consecutive day. This despite having been inactive for the loss to the Eagles due to an ankle injury. On defense, interior defensive lineman Deron Payne was listed as not practicing for a second consecutive day. This due to a back issue. Linebacker and special teams ace Nick Bellore was listed as not practicing for a second consecutive day. This due to a concussion. And linebacker Bobby Wagner was listed as a full participant in practice, but is still dealing with his knee issue. And keep in mind that the Commanders on Monday afternoon announced having put 3 more players on the reserve/injured list. Right guard Samuel Cosme, receiver and punt returner Jalen Lane, and interior defensive lineman Eddie Goldman. And by the way, the Commanders on Tuesday afternoon announced having waived receiver Jamal Agnew with a failed physical designation. They on Monday afternoon announced having claimed Agnew off waivers from the Atlanta Falcons. This is the corresponding roster move to putting Jalen Lane on injured reserve. So we still don't know who the Commanders' starting quarterback for this game against the Cowboys will be. Could be Marcus Mariota, could be Josh Johnson, could be Jeff Driscoll, who the team just reacquired. The Commanders on Monday afternoon announced having signed Driscoll off the Arizona Cardinals practice squad to the active roster. He was the Commanders' QB3 last season. Commanders offensive coordinator Kliff Kingsbury, he did a pre-practice press conference on Tuesday morning. During the presser, had this back and forth between Commanders insider Liam Griffin of the Washington Times and Kingsbury, and then you'll hear a follow-up exchange between Commanders insider Nikki Davala of The Athletic and Kingsbury.
How does this week of preparation change for you when it's kind of unclear who's going to be playing quarterback and you're already working with a short week of practice?
Yeah, that makes it tough. It's a challenging week when you play on a short week regardless, and then not knowing exactly who's going to be out there. We really just focus on us and concepts that we're comfortable with and have done. And I think that's the biggest deal, is making sure that whoever is playing has a game plan they feel very confident in, have booked reps on it at some point in the season or in training camp, and can go out there and execute at a high level on a short week.
Coach Quinn talks a lot about player superpowers. If you end up starting with Josh Johnson this week, what is his kind of superpower that makes you feel comfortable in his ability to run the offense?
Yeah, I think, just his football mind, having played in so many different systems and booked so many different reps in different games and different spaces, and having to come in and play in championship games without getting reps. I think all those things have allowed him to play with a really calm mind. He's a very accurate player, and the ball tends to go to the right spot when he's in there.
Sticking with the quarterbacks, I know you guys are obviously familiar with Driscoll, but in situations where you bring in guys like an emergency, what is your process on trying to get them up to speed, especially at that position?
Yeah, luckily with him, having been here last year, it's a little bit of a great saving grace for us. He has a good knowledge of our base stuff and how to operate it, and so really just giving him, hey, here's the concepts I'm thinking if you need to play, and you show me the ones you're really comfortable with, and we'll take out the ones you're not. And so it's been a lot easier that way than having somebody who's foreign to the system.
Well, we heard Kliff Kingsbury talk about Josh Johnson. The Josh Johnson story will never not be remarkable. The Commanders this past April 11th announced the signing of Johnson as an unrestricted free agent. This season is his age 39 season. He was taken by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the 5th round of the 2008 NFL draft out of the University of San Diego. He has played in at least one NFL regular season game for 7 different teams, off having spent time with 14 different NFL teams, including Washington. He was with the Redskins during the 2018 season. If I asked you, who is the GOAT of NFL journeyman quarterbacks, your answer, and the right answer, may well be Josh Johnson. Josh Johnson may well be the GOAT of NFL journeyman quarterbacks. More on Josh Johnson. We on Tuesday morning had this exchange with Kliff Kingsbury.
Back to Josh for a second. Sounds like you're familiar with his journey. It's been kind of unusual, 14 different teams. Just your thoughts on that journey and how it's maybe shaped him as a player.
Yeah, he's really unflappable. I was a guy that bounced around a little bit, not to that extent, and I wasn't as good as he is. But I think just listening to the different coaches, when he tells stories of the different coaches he's worked with, the different schemes he's played in, he has such a wealth of football knowledge, and there's not a situation as a quarterback that he hasn't been in. And so I think when you're coaching him and you're talking through different concepts, he has thoughts on it. He's been in it before. It may have been called 8 different names in the different systems he's played in, but he's probably repped it in a game at a time or two. And so that makes it fun for me to just kind of be on that journey with him after it's been 20 years of learning and being coached.
Yeah, Kliff Kingsbury himself was a journeyman quarterback in the NFL. Kingsbury was a quarterback for Texas Tech for the 1999 through 2002 seasons. He, as a Texas Tech quarterback, set 39 school records, 16 Big 12 records, and 17 NCAA records. So was taken by the New England Patriots in the 6th round of the 2003 NFL Draft. Kingsbury, in his NFL career, played in just one regular season game, which was for the New York Jets in the 2005 season, but he spent time with a variety of NFL teams. Something that has been interesting to me from Kliff Kingsbury lately has been him admitting that the style of offense that the Commanders have played this season is not the style of offense that he expected/wanted the team to play. And this, of course, is rooted in the offense having been hit hard by injury. But there's no doubt that the Commanders' dynamic passing offense of last season has given way to a more run-oriented offense this season, even with all of the complaining that Kingsbury doesn't call enough running plays. But Kingsbury on Tuesday morning again brought up that the style of offense that the Commanders have played this season is not the style of offense that he expected/wanted the team to play. This was Kingsbury on Tuesday morning, and then you'll hear a follow-up exchange between Commanders insider John Keim of ESPN and Kingsbury.
I just think it's been a different style than we all anticipated playing. And so just to consistently get into a groove hasn't been there. But I like the effort. I mean, we've had times where we moved the football and done some positive things. Guys are playing hard. We just haven't consistently played in a rhythm that we would have liked to.
When you come in the season with maybe envisioning the offense one way, can it be sometimes hard for you as a play caller coordinator to sometimes have to shift and realize you have to shift to maybe a different way to succeed or move the ball?
Yeah, I think that's always a challenge. That's part of being in this league, whether it's injuries or just other situations that arise. You got to be able to adapt and adjust and try to find ways to win games ultimately, regardless of stats or anything of that nature. And so yeah, it's been a challenge. But like I said, I've been really appreciative of our players' effort, their buy-in. They showed up every week, worked really hard. It just hasn't gone our way on some of these games this year.
Okay, and this issue came up later in the Kliff Kingsbury pre-practice press conference on Tuesday morning. We had this exchange between Commanders insider Ben Standig of Last Man Standing on Substack and Kingsbury.
Sort of a follow-up to what John was asking. Well, with so many injuries and no rhythm and things like that, does that change how you think you're going to do whatever self-evaluation you do after the season when you go back and look at games? Like, how do you compare it when you didn't have all the pieces that you were looking for?
Yeah, that's tough. I think you just have to focus on fundamentals, techniques, details, style of play, things of that nature, more than actual scheme, because the scheme isn't exactly what I anticipated us looking like, to start the year and how I thought we'd be playing football. But this is where we're at, and there's definitely areas that we can improve, and the details and the operation and things of that nature. I think that's what you got to focus on, how you can be better in that throughout the spring and going into training camp next year.
It is really hard to truly evaluate how Kliff Kingsbury is doing this season, just like it is really hard to evaluate Jaden Daniels' 2025 season. I mean, the Commanders' overall offensive stats for this regular season aren't terrible. Depends what you look at. Some stats are bad. Some stats really aren't that bad. Some stats, in fact, are good. I mean, the team, for instance, for this regular season through Week 16 is number 15 out of 32 NFL teams in yards per play, 5.44, so upper half of the NFL in yards per play. But there's no doubt that the offense has had plenty of bad games, and of course, so much of that has been the lack of availability of key players like Jaden Daniels and receiver Terry McLaurin. And so what about the future of Kliff Kingsbury? How has this season impacted the future of Kingsbury, if in fact this season has impacted his future at all? But he, this past offseason, remember, took himself out of consideration for NFL head coaching jobs. I don't know that he would want to do that for a second consecutive offseason, right? I mean, you want to strike while the iron's hot. If Kingsbury wants to be an NFL head coach again, then this coming offseason would seem to be a good time to take an opportunity if it is presented to him. But will such an opportunity be presented to him? We on Tuesday morning had this exchange between Ben Standig and Kliff Kingsbury.
To get ahead of a question we're going to ask you at some point, obviously last year your name came up in various head coaching situations, but you focused on the playoffs. where are you at now once you get to the offseason here in terms of thinking? Is that something you still would like to pursue?
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out. But, today just trying to get one of these quarterbacks ready to play on a short week.
And that is exactly the answer that Kliff Kingsbury should have given. But you got to wonder, are the Commanders' final 2 games this season also the final 2 games for Kliff Kingsbury as the team's offensive coordinator? Nova Fireplace and Stove. It is Northern Virginia's go-to expert for fireplaces. Transform the look and feel of your home and increase its value by visiting Nova Fireplace and Stove in Woodbridge, Virginia, or by visiting NovaFireplaceandStove.com, and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you for $25 off any service. Come in and see Nova Fireplace and Stove's stunning displays, including custom fireplace glass doors and stone refacing options that can completely transform the look of your fireplace from sleek and modern to rustic and cozy. Nova Fireplace and Stove has something for every style. And here's what else Nova Fireplace and Stove offers: gas fireplace service and repair, chimney cleaning and brickwork repair, generator installation, panel replacements and water heater repairs, smoke detectors, security lights, and more. Nova Fireplace and Stove is a family-owned, fully licensed and insured company with over-the-top credentials, a gas and electrical master's licenses, a Class A contractor's license, and a long list of 5-star reviews to back all of this up. Every job includes a free in-home estimate, and for listeners of the Al Galdi podcast, Nova Fireplace and Stove is offering $25 off any service. Just mention this ad. Nova Fireplace and Stove only works in Northern Virginia and thus knows the homes, the codes, and the people. Your satisfaction is 100% guaranteed. That's Nova Fireplace and Stove in Woodbridge, Virginia, or NovaFireplaceandStove.com, and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you for $25 off any service. Well, perhaps there is an alternate universe in which this game for the Washington Commanders against the Dallas Cowboys at Northwest Stadium on Thursday afternoon, Christmas afternoon at 1, is a high-stakes game between two teams in the thick of the playoff race in the NFC. How great would it be if this game was such a game? Washington versus Dallas on Christmas, with each team boasting a winning record in the NFL's 2025 regular season, and each team considered a viable contender to make the NFC Championship game. You want to reignite the Washington-Dallas rivalry? That is precisely how you do that. Alas, we do not have such a game. We instead have the 4-11 Commanders home to the 6-8-1 Cowboys, with each team having been eliminated from postseason contention for this season. As I have been saying and will continue to say, I am not here to tell anyone how to be a Washington fan. If you want to always root for wins, go ahead. I get it. If you are all in on the Washington-Dallas rivalry, more power to you. And I mean that. I'm not being, condescending when I say that. But me personally, I am all in on Operation Lose Out 2.0. I am all in on Olo. Regarding this game on Christmas afternoon, given the circumstances, I could not care less about the Washington-Dallas rivalry, to whatever extent the rivalry even exists anymore. And so, my friends, it is the time to rhyme. Rhyming keys for the Commanders in their game against the Cowboys on Christmas to do some good things, but lose, as we are in the midst of Operation Lose Out 2.0. The Commanders, as things stand right now, have the number 7 overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. How likely, how possible is our team getting a top 5 pick in the draft? Not going to be easy. Each of the teams occupying spots 1 through 7 in the draft has no more than 4 wins. Each of the teams occupying spots 1 through 6 in the draft has no more than 3 wins. And so these rhyming keys are of utmost importance. Now, these rhymes, they are not meant to be good, and they are not good. They are only meant to make a few points. In fact, we have a saying for this segment, indeed a rhyme for this segment. The saying is counterintuitive, but trust me, the saying is true. The worse the rhyme, the better the time. And these rhymes are quite bad. And so here we go. Hardcore analysis combined with scheduled fun. Rhyming keys for the Commanders in their game against the Cowboys on Christmas to do some good things, but lose. Rhyming key number 1. This is for the Commanders defense. What up, fam? Do what you do. against Prescott, Williams, Pickens, and Lamb. I told you, these rhymes are not good. And by do what you do, I mean give some stuff up. The Commanders for this regular season through Week 16 are number 29 out of 32 NFL teams in total defense in terms of DVOA, and are number 31 out of 32 NFL teams in total defense in terms of expected points added per play per RBSDM.com. The Cowboys, they, for this regular season through Week 16, are number 7 in the NFL in total offense in terms of DVOA, and are number 5 in the NFL in total offense in terms of expected points added per play per RBSDM.com. The Cowboys, for just the second time in franchise history, have a regular season for which they have a player with at least 4,000 passing yards, a player with at least 1,000 rushing yards, and at least 2 players each with at least 1,000 receiving yards. Those 4 players, quarterback Dak Prescott, running back Javonte Williams, and receivers CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. What's interesting is that the Cowboys in each of these seasons missed the playoffs, 2019 and 2025. But this game is a matchup of a bad and injury-ravaged Commanders defense against a good Cowboys offense, which, remember, torched our team in its 44-22 loss at the Cowboys on October 19th. The Commanders in that game allowed the Cowboys to put up 409 total net yards of offense, average 6.6 yards per play, and go 6 for 12 on third downs. I don't need to see the Commanders' defense get shredded, but for the purpose of Olo, the defense cannot have some remarkable day. And so rhyming key number 1, this for the Commanders defense. What up, fam? Do what you do against Prescott, Williams, Pickens, and Lamb. Rhyming keys for the Commanders in their game against the Cowboys on Christmas: to do some good things, but lose. Rhyming key number 2, this is for the entire Commanders team. I say this without malice, but lose the turnover battle to Dallas. So this is tricky. Commanders versus Cowboys is a battle of 2 of the worst turnover differential teams in the NFL. The Commanders for this regular season through Week 16 are number 30 out of 32 NFL teams in turnover differential, minus 12. The Cowboys are number 29, minus 8. You've heard the phrase, the irresistible force versus the immovable object. Well, this game, in terms of each team's turnover differential, is the very resistible force versus the very movable object. Which team that has been awful in the turnover margin department will be most awful in this game? You know, if there's a fumble in this game, we could see each team encouraging the other team to pick up the football. I mean, that's how bad each team has been in the turnover margin department. But especially with the quarterback uncertainty for the Commanders in this game, rhyming key number 2, this for the entire Commanders team. I say this without malice, but lose the turnover battle to Dallas. Rhyming keys for the Commanders in their game against the Cowboys on Christmas: to do some good things, but lose. Now we arrive at the good things. Rhyming key number 3, this for the Commanders offense: get loose against this defense led by Flus. The Cowboys defensive coordinator is former Chicago Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. His nickname is Flus, and his defense is horrendous. The Cowboys for this regular season through Week 16 are dead last in the NFL in total defense in terms of DVOA, and are dead last in the NFL in total defense in terms of expected points added per play per RBSDM.com. Opposing teams against the Cowboys in this regular season have, you ready for this? 33 touchdown passes versus 6 interceptions. Whoever is playing quarterback for the Commanders in this game has an at least decent chance to have a good game. And this absolutely is a game in which Commanders running backs Chris Rodriguez Jr., Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, and Jeremy McNichols can feast. I would not mind at all if our team lost a high-scoring game. I, even in the midst of Olo, do want to see the Commanders' offense do well. And so rhyming key number 3, this for the Commanders' offense: get loose against this defense led by Flus. All right, it is prediction time. The consensus line per Action Network for this game as of Wednesday afternoon was Commanders +7. It is ridiculous to pick this game or any game without knowing who the Commanders starting quarterback is going to be, but I'm picking the game anyway. Give me the Commanders plus the 7. They lose in a Christmas afternoon shootout. Final score, Cowboys 42. Commanders 36. Would I be stunned if the Commanders got blown out in this game? No, I would not be stunned. But keep in mind that as bad as the Commanders defense is, the Cowboys defense may well be worse. Hey, if you are planning a wedding or you know someone who is, check out or have that person check out cateringbyuptown.com. Catering by Uptown delivers not just delicious food of the highest quality, but also a flawless and memorable experience tailored to your special day. Catering by Uptown's team is dedicated to meeting your every need with elegance and precision. And if you visit cateringbyuptown.com and click on venues, you can set up your own personal tour of one of Catering by Uptown's premier venues, including outstanding waterfront venues. So also, Catering by Uptown is great for parties, so whether a birthday, an anniversary, a retirement, or a charity gala, Catering by Uptown understands that special events deserve to be celebrated in style. Catering by Uptown takes care of every detail so that you can enjoy your event. Catering by Uptown is a family business. It is run by the Pereiras, who are great Commanders fans and loyal supporters of this podcast. Visit cateringbyuptown.com and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. That's cateringbyuptown.com and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. Well, make it 7 losses in 9 games for the Washington Capitals. Now, 3 of the losses have been overtime/shootout losses, but the Caps in each of 4 of the losses have allowed at least 5 goals. Tuesday night, a 7-3 loss to the New York Rangers at Capital One Arena. The Caps in the NHL's 2025-2026 regular season now are 19-13-5, 43 points in 37 games, good for 7th in the Eastern Conference and 4th in the Metropolitan Division. The Caps on Tuesday night held a 3-2 lead after 2 periods. The Caps then lost the third period 5-0, a nightmare of a third period. The Caps lost the game 7-3 despite winning the puck possession battle. They had 32 shots on goal to the Rangers' 21, and per natural stat trick had 55 5-on-5 shot attempts to the Rangers' 42, although included in that was the Caps having just 6 5-on-5 high-danger shot attempts to the Rangers' 11. The Caps starting goaltender was Logan Thompson. He was not good. He stopped just 14 of the 20 shots on goal that he faced. He, in the third period that the Caps lost 5-0, stopped just 6 of the 10 shots on goal that he faced. The Caps went just 3 for 4 on the penalty kill. Now, the Caps for this game were without some key guys. Winger Tom Wilson did not play due to illness. Defenseman Rasmus Sandin did not play due to an upper body injury. And the Caps remain without center Pierre-Luc Dubois, who was on injured reserve. But back for the Caps was Ryan Leonard. He returned from a 7-game absence, served as the Caps' second-line right wing, had 2 secondary assists, did commit a first-period high-sticking double minor penalty, but good to have Ryan Leonard back. The Caps on Tuesday afternoon announced having activated Leonard off injured reserve. He had been on that since December 7th, this due to a shoulder injury that he suffered on a vicious blindside hit by Anaheim Ducks defenseman Jacob Trouba in the first period of the Caps' 4-3 shootout loss at the Anaheim Ducks late night on Friday night, December 5th. The Caps on December 11th, in announcing that Leonard had sustained a shoulder injury, said that, quote, his projected recovery time is approximately 3 to 4 weeks, end quote. Well, he's back already. Back just 16 days after suffering the injury. The corresponding roster move to the Caps activating Leonard was them on Tuesday afternoon, announcing having lone winger Ivan Miroshnichenko to their AHL affiliate, the Hershey Bears. Ryan Leonard, for this regular season now, has 7 goals and 13 assists, reaching 20 points in just 30 games. How about this? Only 2 Caps rookies over the past 40 seasons have required fewer games to reach 20 points in a regular season. Alex Ovechkin in 2005-2006 and Peter Bondra in 1990-1991. Pretty good company. Although, Caps head coach Spencer Carberry, he during his post-game press conference on Tuesday night actually wasn't all that complimentary of the performance of Ryan Leonard. Take a listen.
Thought he was okay. I mean, he was a little bit rusty with some of the reads and that, but with the puck, he was dangerous. He still had his 4 or 5 plays that he makes, creates the breakaway, was good on the power play, I thought, for the most part. Just thought there was a couple instances where he throws the puck away a little bit, the penalties, gets caught off guard a little bit by the guy, all of a sudden is on top of him. So just a few little, I would chalk those up to being a little rusty.
Yeah, Spencer Carberry, Carbs, lukewarm toward the work of Ryan Leonard in his return. The Caps on Tuesday night went 1 for 3 on the power play. Caps second-line center Dylan Strome, he scored a power play goal 8:40 into the second period for his 7th goal in this regular season. First goal for Strome since December 3rd. He ended an 8-game goalless drought. Caps defenseman John Carlson, he scored an even-strength goal 23 seconds into the second period for his 8th goal in this regular season. He had a team-high tying 7 total shot attempts, including a game-high tying 4 shots on goal, and Carlson was number 2 on the Caps in 5-on-5 shot attempt percentage for the game per natural stat trick at 66.67. The Caps with Carlson on the ice in 5-on-5 situations in the game had 20 shot attempts versus allowing 10 shot attempts. And Caps second-line left wing Alexi Protas, he scored an even-strength goal 12-11 into the second period for his 13th goal in this regular season, and he had a primary assist. But a bad game for the Great 8. Caps top-line right wing Alex Ovechkin, no points, just 1 shot on goal, and he committed a third-period cross-checking minor. Ovi now has a 9-game goalless drought. The Caps now have scored more than 3 goals just once over the team's last 9 games. So here was Spencer Carberry during his post-game press conference on Tuesday night on the Caps offense.
Yeah, we're still the offensive piece. There's no question that it's we got to continue to work at that, and that's something that we'll continue to do. We'll continue to dissect it. We'll continue to work with guys individually, help develop some tools when it comes to being able to just create a little bit more and finish. And that's I felt like we controlled a lot of play, but not quite enough high danger. Like our expected goals tonight are not high. Neither are theirs. So, you're right there in the game. We out-ozone time them by a couple minutes, but we still have to take a lot of this to the next step of if you're controlling play, we got to threaten. We've got to have some dangerous looks, and feel like Shesterkin sees a lot of what we're shooting at him, which are decent looks inside the slot area and probably what you would call a high danger look. But if he's seeing it, he's probably going to stop it, and that's where we've got to do a better job of creating like the Protas goal.
All right, the Caps for this loss to the Rangers had just 1 healthy scratch, defenseman Dylan McElrath. I tell you, the Caps are a tricky team to figure out. Like I said, 7 losses in 9 games, but 3 of the losses have been overtime/shootout losses. So also, the Caps for this regular season do have the 3rd best goal differential in the Eastern Conference, +14. We, during the post-game press conference of Spencer Carberry on Tuesday night, had this exchange between Caps insider Sammy Silber of the Hockey News and Carberry.
When you look at the holiday break, maybe is it coming at a good time, and what do you hope that this kind of does for the guys?
Yeah, I mean, look, we were, can't remember the exact date, but call it 22 games ago. I think we were sitting right at 500. We played, was it Jersey? Anyways, somewhere around there where we're, 500 team in the Eastern Conference, which is, sitting near the bottom. So we had to get ourselves back into the fight, and we went on a run and ended up winning 10 of whatever it was. Now we've hit a bit of a skid where we're playing okay, but not getting the results that we need to. So, okay, you reset. We sit where we are who we are. The next portion of the season, January, is going to determine a lot of what we're about and where this team goes. And so that's just a fact, because if you look at our schedule and what we're about to embark on and at the end of December and into January, it's go time. So it's a great opportunity. That's the way that I look at it, for go get away from the game, get away from the Washington Capitals, get away from pre-scouts, anything to do with playing a National Hockey League game or preparing. Enjoy time with your family for 3 days, enjoy the Christmas break, and then come back. And it's a good opportunity for us to play. I mean, we're playing every second night for the next basically 40 days. And so that's a great opportunity for us to show, that we're a team that can compete for a Stanley Cup.
All right, next up for the Caps is a game this weekend at the New Jersey Devils, Saturday night at 7.
Hear that? That's my alarm clock. How did I get here? Invested early, retired early. Now, my morning meeting is with the Shore. Get where you're going with DIA, the only ETF that tracks the Dow. Getting there starts here with State Street Investment Management.
Before investing, consider the fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses. Visit statestreet.com/IM for prospectus containing this and other information. Read it carefully. DIA is subject to risks similar to those of stocks. All ETFs are subject to risk, including possible loss of principal. Alps Distributors, Inc. Distributor.
Planning a trip this year? Travel smarter and connect deeper by learning the local language with Rosetta Stone. With over 30 years of experience, Rosetta Stone's immersive, intuitive method helps you live the language, not just memorize it. Choose from over 25 languages, including Spanish, French, Japanese, and more. Their true accent speech recognition technology gives real-time feedback to help perfect your pronunciation. No translations, just natural learning that builds from words to phrases to full conversations. Whether you have 5 minutes or an hour, you can learn anytime on desktop or mobile. Get a lifetime membership and unlock all 25 languages. Learn as much as you want, whenever you want. Rosetta Stone. Learn confidently. Connect authentically. Don't wait. Unlock your language learning potential now. Listeners can grab Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership for 50% off. That's unlimited access to 25 language courses for life. Visit rosettastone.com/pod50 to get started and claim your 50% off today. Don't miss out. Go to rosettastone.com/pod50 and start learning today.
So, more injury problems for our rebuilding and tanking Washington Wizards. They in the NBA's 2025-2026 regular season fell to an NBA worst 5-23. This with a 126-109 loss at the Charlotte Hornets on Tuesday night. The Wizards blew a 10-point second quarter lead. They lost the second half 64-44, including losing the fourth quarter of 34-19. But the story of the game and of the day for the Wizards was injuries. First of all, the Wizards on Tuesday afternoon announced bad news on Cam Whitmore. So he had been out for the team's previous 2 games due to what had been called right shoulder soreness. This was off him having been a DNP-CD for each of the Wizards' previous 4 games. But the Wizards on Tuesday afternoon announced that Whitmore has been diagnosed with upper extremity deep vein thrombosis and will, quote, be sidelined indefinitely, end quote. Not good. All the best to him. Then came the actual game on Tuesday night. Corey Kispert returned from a 10-game absence caused by a right thumb injury, but he left the game due to left hamstring tightness. Also, Bub Carrington left the game due to an apparent lower body injury. Now, there was some good injury news for the Wizards. Bilal Coulibaly returned from a 2-game absence caused by a sprained left ankle. He, in 23 minutes, 26 seconds as a starter, had 14 points and 5 rebounds, went 3 for 9 on threes, 2 for 4 on twos, and 1 for 2 on free throws. Alex Sarr, he returned from a 1-game absence caused by right adductor injury management. He, in 24-36 as a starter, had just 7 points, but also 11 rebounds, including 4 offensive boards and 4 blocks. He went 0 for 1 on threes, 2 for 5 on twos, and 3 for 4 on free throws. Marvin Bagley III, he returned from a 1-game absence caused by left calf soreness. And Chris Middleton returned from a 1-game absence caused by right knee injury management. He was the Wizards' leading scorer, 21-51 as a starter, 16 points. He went 1 for 3 on threes, 4 for 7 on twos, and 5 for 5 on free throws. Also, bad game for Keyshawn George. He, in 31-21 as a starter, went just 1 for 9 from the field, 0 for 1 on threes, 1 for 8 on twos, did not attempt a free throw. He scored just 2 points, had a game worst plus-minus rating of -20, also committed 3 turnovers. It did have 6 assists. But, you look at the Wizards, the 2 biggest positives for the team this season so far have been Alex Sarr and Keyshawn George, but there still is a lack of consistency with George. I mean, he and the Wizards' 131-22 win at the Memphis Grizzlies this past Saturday night was great, but he in this game on Tuesday night was not so great. And CJ McCollum, He in 33-17 as a starter went just 5 for 17 from the field, 1 for 5 on threes, 4 for 12 on twos, went 3 for 4 on free throws. He did finish with 14 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists versus no turnovers. Next up for the Wizards are 2 games this weekend, home to the Toronto Raptors Friday night at 7 and home to the Memphis Grizzlies Sunday evening at 6. And that'll do it for you and me for now. Keep the feedback coming. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. So, no show for Thursday due to it being Christmas. The next installment of the podcast will come out this Friday, December 26th, what will be episode 1226, and it'll provide you with more on the Washington Commanders, in-depth reaction to and analysis of their game against the Dallas Cowboys at Northwest Stadium on Thursday afternoon, Christmas afternoon at 1. Merry Christmas, and I'll talk to you on Friday.
Hear that? That's me with a lemonade in a rocker on my front porch. How did I get here? I invested to make my dream home, home. Get where you're going with MDY, the original mid-cap ETF from State Street Investment Management. Getting there starts here.
Before investing, consider the fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses. Visit statestreet.com/IM for a prospectus containing this and other information. Read it carefully. MDY is subject to risks similar to those of stocks. All ETFs are subject to risk, including possible loss of principal. ALPS Distributors, Inc. Distributor.